Welcome back. I just want to give you a quick update today on what's happening with VGAC, Virgin Galactic Acquisition Corp. So you heard rumors last week about them merging with another potential Richard Branson entity dealing with space. Today, this one's going to take a totally different track. Stay tuned. We'll talk about what the latest rumors are. I know people have been anxiously awaiting to find out which company VGAC will actually merge with. It's been a few months now since VGAC was created, and of course Richard Branson, it seems like most things that he touches do incredibly well. So what is it that VGAC might actually merge with? Well, last week's rumor was really a rumor. This one is a little more credible, even reported by Bloomberg recently, and that is that VGAC is in talks to merge with 23andMe. Now, according to Bloomberg, the two sides are still far apart but are rapidly making progress. Let's just talk about 23andMe and what it is that they do and why this is an interesting play, potentially. Of course, this merger won't take place for at least a couple of months, if at all. Many of you might already be familiar with 23andMe and what they do, but if you're not, let's just go over what this company does. This company was founded back in 2006. They take a saliva sample from their customers, which will of course have DNA within it, and then they analyze that DNA for multiple things. One, for genetics that will help you understand your ancestry and where you come from, but they also analyze the DNA for risks of a potential disease. That's an important thing to understand. This is not a diagnostic test. This just analyzes the potential risk that a person might have. If we look here on their website, then you can see that they are emphasizing here health predisposition reports, predisposition being the key thing, risk. You might be predisposed to a disease, but it doesn't mean that you're going to develop it. And then carrier status. Now you might also be familiar with a similar company called Ancestry.com. Ancestry tried to follow what 23andMe was doing in terms of being able to report predisposition of certain diseases. However, they have given up on that recently. So 23andMe is really the big player in this arena. They have gone through the painful growing process of being able to deal with the FDA in terms of what they can and cannot say and what their tests are allowed to do. Now let's just shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the controversy regarding 23andMe as well as companies like this who are using a person's DNA for research. Now, you might not understand when you sign up with 23andMe that you are allowing them to use your DNA for research. It is explicitly noted on the website as you're signing up what they are allowed to do with your DNA if you give them consent. By a report that I have read, up to 80% of people are giving them consent to use their DNA in research. This is part of the consent document, and it states that you are consenting to have 23andMe and its contractors access and analyze your stored sample. Unless we notify you otherwise, we will store your sample for a minimum of 1 year and a maximum of 10 years. We may contact you in the event we need to reanalyze your sample, and they talk about the safeguards of their system. They also state that a subset of research participants may have their DNA reanalyzed using another technology such as sequencing. The big take-home from all of this is that a person who signs up for this service and gives consent needs to understand that their DNA can be used to evaluate all sorts of things. That then brings up the issue of privacy and whether a person's DNA can actually be made known to other entities such as the government or insurance companies, etc. Now, some of these privacy issues were thought to be related to some of the difficulties that 23andMe and Ancestry.com have had recently. In fact, both companies have laid off a significant portion of their workforce within the last 12 months. Now, this research done on the received genetic material of millions of people is quite interesting from an economic standpoint for the company. Their agreements with pharmaceutical companies generates a significant amount of money. We're talking about companies like GlaxoSmithKline, BioNTech, Pfizer, and I'm sure other companies. 23andMe does a good job of trying to promote this research and encouraging its members to sign up or give consent for this. They talk about, on average, a customer who chooses to opt into research contributes to over 230 studies on topics that range from Parkinson's disease to lupus to asthma and more. Let's just wrap up with where this company is doing financially. Of course, because this is a private company, we don't have as much details about their finances as we would if they were a public company. But what we do know is that Google invested in them early in 2007. They put in $3.9 million into the company. Of course, Google co-founder was married to one of the founders of 23andMe at the time. They have had multiple funding rounds over the years. Back in 2017, with the $200 million venture capital funding, they were valued at $1.5 billion. In 2018, one of the reports I read said that they were valued at $2.5 billion after another funding round. In December of 2020, they raised another $82.5 million, bringing the total raised over the years to over $850 million. The post-money valuation was not reported with this latest round of December 2020. Now, of course, these are all strictly just rumors, so I'm not going to do a deep dive into this company. We'll actually know more about their finances if they actually do end up deciding to merge, because we'll get the S-1 filing with the SEC, and I can go over more of that in detail in the future. Just wanted to update you, though, on the latest rumor, and this one actually could be quite good for the company. Genomics is certainly a hot topic right now, especially with ARK investing so heavily in genomics. This is a little bit different play on genomics. This company is taking saliva samples, collecting DNA, and then being able to use that with consent in partnership with multiple other companies. So it can be a vast resource for DNA samples. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe. And until next time, enjoy your investing.